Hi Crafty family, I'm here to share this tutorial and project share featuring the journal pocket from Scrap Diva Designs using her dies that are available on her website. If you would like to purchase one, I will link it below. And then this is Avec Amour, and I am not a French speaker, but it's my new favorite collection from Prima, and it is beautiful. It has birds and just romance all over it. I was flicking that little window to show that I already glued the acetate in before I started making the recording. There is not a specific die to cut the acetate, so you just have to eyeball it and measure it. And the other thing I wanted to measure or to point out is there is a die, there's two square dies with rounded corners that are connected, and I took them apart and should not have done that. So anyway, starting with the scoring and making sure all my corners are nice and sharp. And I added glue here before I ever needed to. I should have started with just the sequins before I got going with the glue, but you know, we realize things later sometimes. And I'm not putting a ton of sequins in here for this shaker for a couple reasons. One is because I'm not putting any foam layer in between. I'm just kind of sandwiching this between a piece of paper and then the acetate. And the other reason is because the picture that I'm putting behind the sequins is so beautiful that I don't want to cover it up completely. It is some birds and flowers, and it's just so pretty that it needs to have a little sparkle added, but not be completely covered up. The prototype that I made that I showed in the very beginning, I just used some just some paper behind there because I wanted just the color there and wanted to see what it turned out like. And then this one, you can see there's birds and flowers, and it's just gorgeous. And I just don't want to cover that up. So this goes behind the window so that you have something pretty there, and it just lines the entirety of the envelope. Then I'm just turning it over to make sure that the image is centered, and then burnishing down all of the edges so that they stay nice and firm and we have no escapee sequins. And I'm not going to shake it around yet until the glue has more of an opportunity to set. And then here's another one of the pretty papers. This is one of the biggest images in the collection. It's just these birds on the peonies and roses with the oval fleur-de-lis or whatever you want to put that's on the outside, and it's lovely. These little rounded corners do not have a fold over part, so I just added a little glue just in case you put anything in there that you don't want to have escape. And then I'm doubling up the glue on the piece that will lay over the top as well. And I'm not sure that anybody's really going to see this all that often, but I sure do think it's so pretty. And so anybody who receives this will have a really pretty container for their card. In the end, I ended up making a tag card to put inside, and it, I think, will be the perfect thing to send to somebody. It'll be absolutely beautiful. And now I'm just burnishing down all of the edges to make sure it is nice and solid, and here we get the shaky shake. So there it is. Now this little guy wanted to be curled up after it came through the die machine, so you'll watch me fight with it just a little bit. It's some very thin gold paper. Oh, and this is the piece that has the two squares that you do not take apart, you leave them together. So I've got tape sticking mine together now. You can see it just keeps rolling up and not wanting to stick down, but that's okay. You know, we crafters, we stick with things and make sure that it stays. And then I'm just gonna burnish it down. On my prototype, I went around and sewed a bunch of stuff and realized that it was kind of like extra work for me because I ended up gluing things over the top of all the sewing. And there's so much stitching kind of appearance on the die already, the die set, that it doesn't need a whole bunch of other like actual thread stitching. Of course, if you're into that and you want to do that, go for it, but otherwise don't worry about it. This is the bottom piece that's for a little label, and I just put some pictures of roses in there. And now I am digging around in my brads trying to find the perfect brads, and oh my goodness, did I ever find the perfect brads. I found these two beautiful pearl brads that go absolutely perfect with this paper on this project, and I love the way it looks. Of course, the brads are only for appearances. I'm not poking them through any of the actual card. They're just going to be on the gold piece, and then I will glue that down so that it stays all connected to the envelope. It drives me nuts when any kind of dust gets on the acetate, and I get paranoid that it's going to be on the inside, so I always keep a clean paintbrush handy so that I can just brush it off all the time. I've seen other people who keep those anti-static little cloths around to wipe their acetate, and I really need to get on that and do that too so that I can just continue to clean off all the dust, because working with paper just creates so much dust. Now that everything is all glued down, all that's left to do is embellish it. Thanks for checking out the video, and make sure to use code URBAN10 if you choose to invest in your own die set, and have a beautiful day.